come to the time in the season.
For where we are, we have a great movement in this country. We definitely have a great movement in this country, and it's a movement of patriots. It's a movement in the churches. Honestly, there's a big sort of Judeo and Christian movement that is rising up again. People are beginning to wake up because they see the theft of really the foundation that the country was built upon being taken.
I'm thanking the Lord He made you. This year when I count my blessings, I'm thanking the Lord He made you. I'm grateful for the laughter of children, the sun and the wind and the rain, the color of blue in your sweet eyes, the sight of a highballing train, the moon rise over a prairie.
Well, we've come to a season where many families are split now instead of being together. I know, I hear about it, yet we have many new friends, don't we, who understand all that's going on. We have the ability to discern and understand more as we get around the table what to discuss. So we're thankful for that, for the friends that we do have. The fact that we can still meet at a table and still have a meal, regardless of how expensive it might be, we still know that we're fighting for our freedom. It's probably one of the most expensive in a century. We will try to bring some light information for this weekend, but still need to watch how they are prepping the battle for digital certification. We'll continue to see how Twitter is working to expose the darkest secrets there, which is a lot on trafficking, and really prep for the winter ahead. Folks, do you have the backup solar bank? It's a portable charger on steroids and the perfect gift this holiday season. This device has a powerful 20,000 mAh solar-powered battery that has charged my headlamps, camera, radios, and phones. The size of the battery ensures it can charge the average phone up to 7 times. Whether you're camping, hunting, fishing, or on vacations, you'll need to recharge something. And I wouldn't recommend anything else than the backup solar bank. Try, inspect, and judge the backup solar bank with your own eyes and hands, risk-free for yourself. If it doesn't live up to your expectations, although I know it will, you'll have a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. No questions asked. But plus, if you use my code BLACK15, you'll get an extra 15% off. Just go to backupsolarbank.com in the description box below today.
This turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
So here we are putting together a meme where Elon Musk opens up the blue turkey, which would be representative of Twitter. And as he opens it up, President Trump pops out of that blue bird and all of the liberals explode and scream. Yeah, we got some more memes for you in a moment. But first of all, I wanted to read something about Thanksgiving from Tippy Top Patriot. And a reminder, Thanksgiving proclamation from President George Washington on October 3rd, 1789. Whereas both houses of Congress have by their joint committee requested me to recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many signal favors of Almighty God. Yet some still say America wasn't founded on Christian values. And yeah, we see that. We hear that. And I've seen the information that flows from that. And we're allowed to share information with each other without getting mad at each other, screaming at each other and saying, well, George Washington was a Mason or this, that, and the other. I understand all that. But for right now, that's the quote. And we're sharing it now just to make sure you guys understand that. Prices for Thanksgiving soar. President Trump put this out from a year ago. Turkey's up 16%, bread 14%, potatoes 15%, butter 33%, flours 24%, canned fruit is up 18%, frozen pies 18%, and eggs are up 43%.
Getting a turkey for Thanksgiving. Number one, you won't get it. And if you do, you're going to pay 3 to 4 times more than you paid last year.
Come on, man.
And there's the turkey of all turkeys. This guy that they put as an actor playing President Biden. We know, and I've shared with you many times, regardless of how many of you guys try to defend it, we know that that's not the real Biden. So we continue to move forward. And I thought this was brilliant as we get together at the dinner table this year with some of those family members that can't stand us for telling the truth. I thought this was pretty good.
Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn.
So you guys listening in, this guy's putting on his suit. He's packing up his Republican books, putting them in a bag. Sits at a dinner table with what looks like a lot of liberal-type families, far-left people anyway.
You guys hear Trump's running again?
And I'm feeling good.
And as he states that, everybody at the table is freaking out. And he's eating, and all of the far-left folks that need to go to an insane asylum are freaking out. And he's just smiling as he unveils Trump 2024 with that smile. Make America great again with the hat on. That tells you something there. Here's another one. Another meme I thought was actually brilliant with Elon Musk.
Yes, hello.
Trump, did you see Ion banned you on Twitter?
Okay, it's good to be back. Let's see what we're going to do. First tweet at Speaker Pelosi. You're fired. P.S. Tell Paul he doesn't look good in his underwear. We saw the body cam. It's a horrible thing. We don't want to get suspended off the bat. At Rosie O'Donnell, you're still a disgusting animal, both inside and out. It's true. Now, let's not waste a good one. At Said Warren, I am more Indian than you. Hashtag Pocahontas. No, wait, I got it. Kofifi, I'm back, bitches.
Go
So
download Parrot.
there we go. That's just brilliant memes. I mean, we need some humor as we move forward with some of this information we're putting out. And we're going to cover more on Elon Musk and his information that's coming. As a matter of fact, real quick, the more I learn, the worse it gets as Elon Musk. The world should know the truth of what has been happening at Twitter. Transparency will earn the trust of the people. Now, those are still doubting Elon Musk, and myself, I'm always keeping a close eye on why this is all playing out. Liz Crokin, we're going to share some stuff with her later on. She actually shows something from the Intel boards that actually makes sense on all of this and the exposure that Elon Musk seems to be tied to in exposing all of the evil out there, especially with the trafficking that Twitter is used for. Wall Street Silver says Elon has turned off the corporate credit cards. Oh, yeah. Corporate credit cards for Twitter employees have been shut off. 3 of the people said. One worker said she tried to buy farewell drinks for colleagues after the mass layoffs, only to have her corporate credit card declined at the bar. So, moving on to an interview that really opens up what most of us know. The borders open for,
and we can do it with the power.
Many reasons. One of them, trafficking.
Power of the purse.
Listen, I know you want action and want to change things. What's going on in the Department of Defense? On Monday, you and Marco Rubio released an 18-page report that claims that woke warfighters in the administration are screwing up our military. You write, in part, our military's singular purpose is to provide for the common defense of our nation. It cannot be turned into a left-wing social experiment. It cannot be used as a cudgel against America itself. And it cannot be paralyzed by fear of offending the sensibilities of Ivy League faculty lounges or progressive pundits. Congressman, what's going on?
Yes, and so I know why I played this now. I'm sorry, it wasn't the border is big on trafficking. We're going to see some more on that in a moment. But I wanted to play this clip near the beginning because it is talking about a subject that was highlighted as we've met for Thanksgiving, had great discussions with those prior military and those still in. And we had this discussion on what is actually going on. I mean, if I was in the Marine Corps today, it's been several years, more than a decade since I've been in, what it would be like to be in today and hear how these guys are dealing with this woke stuff and more. And what I was told by somebody who's higher up, they said when they had their meeting to go over all of this, and meeting, what I mean is like a 3-hour lab to tell everybody that we're going to discuss how we treat each other, discuss race, discuss LGBTs, blah, blah, blah. He said that after 3 hours, most of the folks there in different branches were basically lifting their hand confused and saying, you just wasted 3 hours of my time. None of this is happening. Why would you guys talk to us about this? You're just going to cause division. He said a lot of that was coming up from the enlisted folks. And it's basically they did it one time. They haven't brought it up since. And they're not pushing it as hard as they were in the beginning when all of this was playing out. But here we go. The GOP's jumping in to stop it all.
Yeah, well, I was proud to partner with Senator Marco Rubio and his great team. We put out this report that outlines a lot of what many of us have heard bits and pieces of in the news over the last couple of years. But what you're seeing when you look at it in its totality is absolutely shocking. It is destroying the culture of our military, driving recruiting levels down very low. It's really impossible to get these guys to want to join. In fact, I was in Parris Island in South Carolina this summer talking to recruits, and they were talking about, look, I love serving, but it's hard to get others to join me. Why? Because you've got the leadership, the brass of the Department of Defense, who are prioritizing Pride Month, putting out pictures with rainbow bullets, that they're, having the military stand down for a day to focus on the whiteness and the wokeness and all of the danger that they say is appearing, which is actually rather minimal and small. And they're destroying the culture of our military. And they actually hire positions at the top level of defense for diversity and equity, which is saying apologize for your whiteness and promoting your 1619 project. We need to end that. Yes. We need to refocus our military on what it's supposed to do, which is blow things up and kill people. And I introduced legislation to do that last year, and Senator Rubio has joined me this year in that effort.
Congressman, thank you.
Interesting. So, will that change anything? Will they be able to reverse all of the things that have been pushed down the military's branches throughout it all started back when Obama, right? When he came in and he started reversing, don't ask, don't tell. And they started bringing in more training as every single time somebody steps in who's Democrat, liberal, and all their ideologies is anti-God, anti-Christ, and all the morals. They try to tell you that we have to have good moral judgment, honor, courage, and commitment. And they're destroying it. For him to even say he went to Parris Island, talk to recruits there, guys that are actually in training at this very moment, and they're stating why they can't get their friends to join with them. It's an eye-opener. President Trump, when a Republican judge or justice is proudly appointed by a Republican, he or she will almost always go out of their way to make a point, even in a decision that they are in no way beholden to the person or party that gave them this great honor. When a Democrat judge or justice, especially a radical left one, is proudly appointed by a Democrat, he or she just doesn't care. It's almost impossible to get a fair decision on a case if you're a Republican. Sorry, but that's the way it is. And so it continues the so-called investigation of me by a radical left prosecutor who is totally controlled by Eric Holder and Obama is a rigged scam. The Justice Department and FBI are corrupt. In fact, offered $1 million to Christopher Steele to lie, told Facebook that Hunter laptop was Russian disinformation when they knew it was not, and they paid people to get Trump. Did nothing wrong on January 6th, peacefully and patriotically. It looks like it's misspelled. Or with documents. Check out the past presidents. So all this is playing out. Biden stuff has been playing out, and we're seeing more and more the truth unfolding.
We're trying to determine if the president's son is a national security risk, if the president himself is corrupt. And all we hear from the other side of the aisle is Trump, 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 Trump. We're not talking about Donald Trump. We're not talking about his family. We need right now, the current president of the United States is Joe Biden. Is he corrupt or is he not? And what we do need to avoid is this obfuscation and this dodging and this counter accusations. And this is not a distraction. This is a necessity, because what we're after here is the truth. The
truth. Now, what's really interesting I caught on there is Biden's the president, not Trump. Now imagine if Trump would have won this last election, 2020, and they started going after Biden, the Clintons, Obama, because it's all tying together. They would all accuse Trump that he was going after his opponents. But the fact that they let them steal the election and step into power, right? And we know, based off a lot of information that we've been posting with these executive orders, that it really appears that President Trump's commander-in-chief, and that we are under a national emergency, and that this is all playing out to wake up the masses. If that's true, and now we're sitting down, we're watching this stuff, isn't it amazing that Biden would be the one who's the president? Leave Trump alone. He's gone now. No, we need to find out what's going on with Biden. And the world is watching, and they go, wait a minute, he's the president? What's going on with this laptop? He did what deals? He's getting how much money? If it had been reversed and Trump was the president and they were going after Biden, they would just say Trump's attacking everyone. Interesting, right?
In 50 suspicious activity reports. Not a handful, not a dozen, not single digits. 150. And to sit there and say that this is not something that's worthy of a resolution of inquiry is absurd on its face, because this is about getting to truth and administering justice.
Administering justice, getting to the truth, and finding out what's going on. What a perfect time to do it, especially when this guy, old Biden himself, is now in the front. And they're all wanting us to continue to talk about Trump when he did nothing wrong. And he continues to remind us. That's why he keeps putting the stuff out on Truth Socials, constant reminders, especially the new guys finally jumping in saying, we want to know what's going on. They're new to all this. And he put out this recently, give me freedom or give me death. Tippy Top Patriot. Noah didn't stop building the ark to explain himself to every doubter and hater. Keep building and let the rain do the talking. Also, Nehemiah shows us the perfect response to his enemies in Nehemiah 6:3. You guys should go read Nehemiah. It's almost a picture-perfect deal of what we're going through now. A builder concerned about his country helps rebuild, right? And here's a quote from him. I'm doing a great work so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease whilst I leave it and come down to you? As the enemy continues to attack, he's not going down to them. He's helping rebuild this country together with you guys. And so we're at the Patriot Light on Facebook. You guys know that. AndWeKnow.com is a great website for us, easy to remember, right? And we're also at thepatriotlight.com. Folks, if you go to the Patriot Light, there's plenty of resources on a lot of stuff that we talk about, 9/11, issues with the jab, and more there. We also have several of your favorite folks that we talk about, like Conocoa the Great and others, Tippy Top Patriot. Their feeds, their information is fed through this site so you can find them in one stop, so you don't have to go out jumping everywhere to find them. You can find them there. And also, if you're looking for Christmas gifts and more, the zip-ups are back in stock. So you can find all of this in the description box below and on those websites. It's absolutely amazing. A great time to grab that. Angie and Jamie doing a great job. And the Patriot Pin and the challenge coins are still available also. So here's some more great photos of Patriots wearing their gear. Thank you so much, guys, for just heading over there and grabbing that and sending us the photos. And it's just so, we so appreciate you guys. And so we're at also andweknow.tv, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV. That's where you can watch our videos without ads. That's right, without ads. You can go over there. And so President Trump put out something else. We're going to look at Arizona for a moment. What are they doing in Arizona about the large number of voting machines in Republican areas that just happened to be broken on Election Day, with tens of thousands of voters standing in line for hours, unable to vote? They left the voting lines in complete exasperation, unable to return. When mechanics went in to fix the machines, they got worse. Carrie Lake couldn't even vote in her own district. Voter fraud, do the election over, or declare Kerry, Blake, and Abe the winners. Act fast. Here's Carrie.
Kind of followed up with our own filing today. We need information from Maricopa County. They ran the shoddiest election ever in history, and we want some information. We're on a timeline, a very strict timeline when it comes to fighting this botched election. And they're dragging. They don't want to give us the information, so we're asking the courts to force them to give us information. This is not our main case. When our main case drops, they will hear it. Trust me, they will hear it. And they better think really hard before Ducey and Hobbs sign their John Hancock to that certification. They better think long and hard about what they know about what happened in this election, because when we drop our lawsuit, they will hear it. We have whistleblowers coming forward and at least one smoking gun in it, and we will not stand here and watch them make a mockery of our sacred vote.
Make a mockery of our sacred vote. They better be careful. And I love how she stands and she lets them know. And my hope is always that this enemy, these folks that are demon-possessed like Katie Hobbs, would be shivering in their boots. But they're probably not. They're probably going to their back covens, standing around the pentagrams with their hoodies on. Who knows who they're talking to, and doing some very nefarious things in the background, thinking that they'll never get caught because they've got everything rigged. The judges rigged. The billionaires paying everybody off. They've got blackmail on everyone because they're saying they're going to expose them or take down their families if they even come out, because they can't. They, being the top folks that we probably don't even know their names or faces, are doing all they can to stop this because they don't want to be exposed for everything that they've done. To me, Arizona holds the key to all of it. Keep it going. Carrie Lake will keep her in prayer and their team in prayer as they continue to fight this. And I tell you what, just another reminder. Be careful with the John Hancock on that, right? Because what can happen to them if the truth does come out and somehow God Almighty works through this whole system and exposes them? Treason. What's the punishment for treason? Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto empire went down in flames. So does his plans to save the world. This is Wall Street Journal Markets. So they gave him an article to basically massage him a little bit, right? And Elon Musk says, Wall Street Journal is giving the foot massages to a criminal. You know, what's interesting is around the social media world, they're stating that this guy right here, Sam Bankman-Fried, is still going to give some type of special speaking engagement, I think in New York City still, even after all the stuff that he's done. Elon Musk spent $44 billion to bring back free speech. Sam Bankman-Fried scammed people of billions. Guess which one the Democrats are more outraged by? They're outraged by Elon Musk. And they're also outraged because their plot to try to destroy all the conservatives, the MAGA people, those Q folks, because they supposedly attacked an LGBTQ club, they're getting exposed. More and more of that is playing out, and Tucker Carlson did an amazing job in covering it. So I'm going to play the beginning of this and also take you to the 10-minute mark on it, just to show you something very interesting that he had a good laugh about.
By this show and by the Twitter account Libs of TikTok to hate transgendered people. And that's why this man walked into a bar, a gay bar, with a gun and started murdering people. He did that because he was taught by right-wing media outlets to despise and fear the non-binary community. And that's why this show and Libs of TikTok must be hauled into court and bankrupted for what we've done so that we can never provoke this kind of horrifying violence ever again. That's the real lesson of this mass shooting. So that is what they've been telling you again and again and again.
That's right. They keep telling you on all the mainstream media that You guys are the bad ones. You're the ones that caused this guy to go into this place and start shooting up everyone.
On various news channels for the past 3 days. And we're not overstating that, by the way. Here's a selection of it.
It's a campaign being driven by members of Congress and conservative influencers on social media, as well as the right's most favorite TV network, Fox News.
Those incidents at drag events I mentioned a few moments ago, they happened within the context of conservative media personalities fear-mongering against queer folks.
Respected messengers from TV networks saying that these people are wrong and they're trying to damage your children.
We have a long history of the LGBTQ community being victimized, demonized by especially right-wing media and Republicans.
You have anti-LGBTQ rhetoric spewed on the most watched hours on Fox News at a regular clip against the U.S. military, against gay men and women, against gay teachers, against their right to exist.
So Fox News, in its most watched hours, is attacking even the U.S. military and, of course, gay men and women and teachers, too. They're advocating, quote, against their right to exist. In other words, they've been calling for genocide. That would be us.
Not only him, I was watching another network where they were going after anyone that shares truth, right-wing folks, truther channels, and more. Because we're all responsible for something that they're lying about. And he continues on and he shares more and more information. And then they show the picture of this guy, video background. And he looks like he's been beat up pretty bad and he's drugged. And they keep reaching over and putting their hands on him as if he's dead. Really strange. So I'm going to go to the 10:19 mark on this video and show you as they figure out that this guy identified as a non-binary, what Tucker said about that particular thing.
Defenders say, quote, Anderson Aldrich is non-binary. They use they, them pronouns. Are you guys lawyers? I mean, you know, I don't know if I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's what he's now saying.
It sounds like they're trying to prepare a defense against a hate crimes charge.
Oh, so in this case, if the shooter claims to be non-binary, he's got to be lying about it. It's not real. So we're not going to call the non-binary shooter Mix or observe his pronoun request. In fact, the whole pronoun thing is gone. Biology is back. He was born a man. He's still a man. Oh, it's unbelievable. So what they're doing, of course, is using an actual tragedy, the murder of 5 people, for political reasons. And of course, it's not the first time they have done that. They're happy to use death for political advantage. They did it with George Floyd. They did it with Officer Brian Sicknick. And it's not the most recent anti-gay attack, by the way, that has turned out to be a total lie perpetuated by the media. Just a few days ago, a guy was caught throwing a rock at a gay bar in Hell's Kitchen, New York, on camera. So the media dutifully went out and interviewed the owner, who said, quote, it feels like yet another manifestation of hate against our community. A lot of big social media accounts ran with that story. More hate, more hate. So then, and this is a story that didn't get quite as much coverage, the police arrested the guy who did it. His name is Sean Cullion, and he was upset because of a dispute involving a friend. He didn't target the place because it's a gay bar. In fact, and we're quoting now from the rock thrower, I'm gay myself. I mean, come on. Shouldn't someone apologize?
Yeah. They'll never apologize. And I thought that was important to put out there. That these guys, they show this information, they hide it all from the public. They try to get their information out as fast as possible to demonize and get into the minds of the followers of Communist News Network, MSNBC, and others that were just bad folks and were causing all these problems. Liars. And while the enemy's at that, trying to lie to everyone through the enemy of the people, the mainstream media, every now and then they'll put out some truth, which puts fear down the spines of most people. Vaccine passports.
Liken this to kind of a digital gulag. Explain.
Well, this is the way it works, Laura. It's like if you have these vaccine passports, they can support the same functionality as the China social credit system, which it surveils every aspect of a person and assigns a social credit score about how compliant you are. And if you combine that with the central bank digital currency, where the federal government is deciding whether or not you can spend your money, then they can just take your money away. They can sever you from your credit cards, from your bank account, and even from your ability. They can even empty your bank account if they deem that you are non-compliant. And that is a digital gulag.
So you're saying the framework for the digital passport allows government entities, in this case an international organization perhaps, to put anything in those little digital drawers. So in this case, it's the vaccine passport, but then other bits of information about you and your life can also go in those other drawers that are there.
Correct. So the vaccine passport or any mandatory digital ID, even a digital driver's license, a smart health card, can combine the functionality of the China social credit system. So that
I know people are going to say, "Oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. This is great." But people were getting on my case in April.
Yeah. So bring it up as a conspiracy there. Talk about it as if, yeah, it's just all make-believe in a sense. But here she is trying to let everybody know what's going on. And there they are, getting into the psyche of the people, right? Into their minds, preparing them for what's coming. Exposing it, but then preparing everyone so that when it does happen, they'll say, yeah, that's what they talked about doing. Well, we finally have the much-acclaimed Z-Stack from Dr. Zelenko ready for you at zstackwithok.com. That's right, click below the video to make your immune system clean, resilient, and resistant. Your immune system can be weakened over 300 different primary immunodeficiency disorders, lack of sleep, and adverse reactions to vaccines. Click below the video, zstackwithok.com. Get 5% off with coupon code AWK. That's AWK to get the kids Z-Stack, Z-Detox, Z-Flu, and Z-Stack today. That's zstackwithok.com. And so if you head over to China, I don't show it very much because some of it sometimes I think some of the stuff from China is just acting, because I've seen videos where they actually film it and they're trying to get people to just be fearful throughout the earth. Yet you'll look here and it says a new quarantine camp is being built in China's Guangzhou city and designed to detain 87,000 people. Now, my hope is that what we're sharing is real and this picture is real. Not my hope that they're actually going to do this. We just don't want fear to be placed in everybody's mind that this is what's coming if somebody's trying to use this as propaganda to get into the minds of the people. But you know what? If it's real and they're going to house 87,000 people because they're not being good citizens and they're not getting things done, or they're supposedly sick again, they'll switch your COVID passport to a code red, and then you have to do your time. It's about control. It's not about a virus. It's all it is. And so you think the folks in China are going to put up with it. I don't think this one video was a movie. This appears to be real. And so these folks are throwing everything they have at these sickos who are locking everyone down, walking around with these MOP Level 4 outfits on. MOP Level 4 would be a Marine Corps term where you put everything on as if you're in a gas attack. Sickening what's going on in China. And then you have the UK banks. This is worrying. Following the collapse of crypto exchange FTX, UK banks have decided you can only spend your money on crypto if they allow you to. Complete control of how you spend your money. A chilling glimpse of a CBDC future. Daily limits imposed on their accounts, dictating how much of your money they can hand over. This is UK Home putting this out. How you're going to spend your money, restricting you on how you're going to do it, and more. And so now I'm going to get into an area that if you don't want your children to hear about, it's basically going over the details of trafficking with a few photos that are the art pieces of the Podestas and Balenciaga. So I'll give you a chance before I start showing you this. It's not super bad, but just in case you are worried about your children seeing some of these things, it's very difficult to look at some of them. So Here's a reminder of Balenciaga and just how bad it is.
There is a lot happening with Balenciaga right now, and it literally just keeps getting worse. So if you're unaware, Balenciaga, the big brand, released an ad featuring children holding teddy bears that were dressed in bondage. Now, for good reason, this sparked outrage because it's completely inappropriate. But what this did was it opened up the Pandora's box of how completely grotesque this company is. When you dig deep into their other product advertisements, there are subtle hints of pedophilia and child exploitation in almost all of them. If you think this is just a picture of a Balenciaga bag, you're wrong, because down here there's a reference to a court case that was ruled in favor of virtual child you-know-what. Oh, but that just might be a coincidence. Now, while you may want to believe that's true, do you know how many eyes are on product placement for a brand like Balenciaga? Not to mention, there's more. This picture here might just be somebody sitting at their desk in New York City, right? Wrong. What are these books here? Who is Michael Borman, and why is his book featured in a Balenciaga ad? It must be a good book. Wrong. It's a book that depicts child exploitation. There are horrific depictions of nude children in this book that Google can't even show them. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, but we're still not done. This photo here, he's got a nice outfit on, good-looking model. But who is this here? John Philip Fisher. Couldn't be the same man that was accused of molesting his granddaughter at 4 years old. Now, I know I'm going to get called a conspiracy theorist for this because we already are. Multiple news outlets are saying that this Balenciaga issue is a wild conspiracy theory. But if it was a conspiracy theory, why would Balenciaga apologize for it? They literally issued a statement apologizing for their photo shoots. So clearly this is not a conspiracy theory since Balenciaga admitted fault. But you see, an apology, it isn't enough. We know how many eyes are on product placement. We need to know why this was allowed. And don't confuse this for cancel culture. This is children that we're talking about.
Interesting. So he's doing his part, putting out the information, sharing it out to the public. And we're noticing more and more that you can get that out on Twitter. Liz Crokin Channel shared this. I had a feeling there would be a Rachel Chandler Balenciaga connection, and there it is. The models at Balenciaga in Midland, a modeling and casting agency founded by Chandler, look abused and like real trafficking victims. Real trafficking victims. And I'm going to show you those photos because they do look sad. They look very malnourished, and they look very depressed, as if they've been beat. Rachel Chandler, one of the primary faces of Pedogate, was a casting agent for Balenciaga. I'm not kidding, says Wyatt. She has also worked closely with Balenciaga's creative director, Demna. By the way, Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, Ella, has modeled for Balenciaga. Also, Ella signed a modeling contract with IMG Models. IMG had 6 different models come out to expose Jean Pic Brunel and Epstein's abuse of them. So all you have to do is go to the Q board and you can read up and find out all about Chandler and more. And then continue on with Liz Crokin, putting out great information on her Telegram and Substack. In light of Balenciaga's scandal, I want to remind people that there is a pattern with these so-called elites promoting child pornographic art that includes not just the sexualization of children, but also images of children who are tortured and physically abused. Read my column on the Podesta brothers' satanic and pedophilic art collection. So I put that in the description box below. She has a part 1 and part 2 for all of this. Great writing. We know that she was pushed away from Hollywood and all of the writing that she was doing there after she started exposing all of these folks. She came out of that, been watching her for years, and she's doing a tremendous job. And so there's some art. You've got the Jeffrey Dahmer deal here that they had hanging in their house. You've got these children, and I'm only going to show you this one here where they have a kid hanging in what appears to be a swimming pool tied up. This is their art pieces. And so going on, Rams Paul said Twitter is reportedly nuking the pedo accounts. This is eliminating much of Antifa Twitter. Elon Musk says removing child exploitation is priority number 1. Please reply in comments if you see anything that Twitter needs to address. Liz Crokin now is on her 4-year anniversary of her Twitter account suspension. So hopefully she'll be put back up on Twitter, because here we are looking at Twitter. Should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspended accounts, says Elon Musk. asks him, provided that they have not broken the law or engaged in egregious spam. 72% said yes. The people have spoken. Amnesty begins next week. So he's basically going to just open up all the accounts of all the folks that were taken down. Hopefully one of those is Liz Crokin. Eliza sent something to Elon, leans in, taps mic. Sure would be nice if the public found out the truth about what was actually going on with Twitter over the past 10 years as it pertains to their failure around the issue of removing child sexual abuse material at scale. Elon replies, I would like to know too. John Miranda says, I look at these two tweets and the first thing I see is vindication for Liz Crokin, who has been attempting to wake people up for years on what has been happening on social media platforms. The deplatforming of Liz was specifically done to protect the most evil among us. The curtains are not opening. They are being torn down. The child predators among us will scream the loudest. Dark to light. But they're not screaming about FTX. They're not screaming about the money that was sent to the Ukraine out of our pockets. Then sent from Ukraine to FTX, then from FTX to the Democrats and the rhinos to fund all the things that they're doing. Do you see how evil this is, folks? Do you realize just how demonic that it is, that it's all wrapped around these children? I mean, how many times do we have to talk about this where we realize more and more they're getting by with murder? Not just murder, the murder of children. Associated Press put, new Twitter owner Elon Musk said he is granting amnesty for suspended accounts, which online safety experts predict will spur a rise in harassment, hate speech, and misinformation. See, they're trying to get ahead of it because they know it's about to blow open for everyone to see. Elon says AP is such an expert in misinformation, Twitter couldn't hope to compete. But you have piqued my curiosity. Who are these online experts you speak of? You liars. Anybody who continues to watch AP, Communist News Network, MSNBC, and more, please turn them off. We can gather this information together, share it with one another, and show how they're lying, but there's no reason to rely on them for anything anymore. Liz Crokin put out this that I promised earlier. Fun fact. Did you know some of Tesla's cars dance? The dance is set to a song called Wizards in Winter. That's right. So Tesla has, a song called Wizards in Winter. For all the Elon Musk haters, I invite you to review what has been said about the Wizards. So I pulled this up. I made a screenshot so you can see that she posted this, and she drops Q posts. One of them, number 15, October 31st, 2017. Again, and I'm reading this as a reminder that the enemy, the mainstream media, will report about Q drops as if they're bad. They're wrong. It's about satanic pedophiles that don't exist. And they just spend time protecting those folks that know they're being exposed. They're getting paid millions, if not billions of dollars to cover everything up, folks. But then when we share stuff and we share the truth from it all, they ban us on all areas, including Patreon, Teespring, YouTube, PayPal, and more. So here's number 15. Liz Crokin, as a reminder, everyone, great catch too, by the way, Liz. There are more good people than bad. The wizards and warlocks, inside term. What's an inside term? Oh, the dance from Tesla's car is called Wizards in Winter, inside term, will not allow another satanic evil person control our country. Realize Soros, Clinton's, Obama, Putin, etc. are all controlled by three families. The fourth was removed post-Trump's victory. 11.3 Podesta included. 11.6 Huma indicted. Manafort was placed into Trump's camp, as well as others. The corruption that will come out is so serious that deals must be cut for people to walk away. Otherwise, 70% of elected politicians would be in jail. 70% of elected politicians. I remember Jennifer Flynn saying once, if I remember an interview, maybe a few times, 99% of the politicians you see in D.C. are corrupted. That was back then. A deep cleaning is occurring, and the prevention of and defense of pure evil is occurring on a daily basis. They never thought they were going to lose control of the presidency, not just the Dems, the rhinos too, and thought they had control since making past mistakes, JFK and Reagan. Godspeed, Patriots. P.S. Soros is targeted. And there's rumors flying around that Soros had a heart attack recently. I haven't been able to find anything else, but just noticing that it's flying around. Here's another one, 714. Mess with the best, die like the rest. Highly classified clown ops exposed. 44 in the target brackets remaining. Wizards and warlocks. Save the best for last. Are we saving the best for last now? Interesting. So continuing on, Trump continues to put out information. He went on another spree reposting explicitly pro QAnon memes on Truth Social, says Will Sommer, who can't stand all of this stuff happening. But thanks, Will, for getting that information out. And that's true. If it's not a real op, then why would President Trump continue to show that he's a part of it by reposting over and over Q and Q plus material? Where we go one, we go all, the we the people from sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring. Patriots, it's your time. If America falls, the world falls. United we stand. God bless you all. Q plus. He also reposted, he has sacrificed so much to save humanity from a cabal. And then Q plus, we will stand strong. We will stand strong. So a reminder, I'm not worshiping President Trump. I didn't worship Nehemiah when I read and study the scriptures and show that he was a builder and he came in to help rebuild. I don't worship Moses, who was used by God to help free the people from bondage. I don't worship David, who was a man after God's own heart, but I talk about him. And I think we're in biblical times now. We're hoping even more on a biblical level that Brazil would be rescued for Bolsonaro. The military has been moving in on Brazil. Videos of the military showing up with their vehicles are all over social media. There's also a rumor going on, and I'm showing this video now, that the military asked the people to remove their posters and signs from the fence in front of the Army headquarters. Storm Rider official page said with Russian troops helping Mali fight against Rothschild-paid military regiments in Africa. Mali military coup in August 2020 was a kickoff to warn Rothschild, UN, NATO, that their pillaging of Africa was at an end. Immediately, several African countries followed up by coups in Chad in April 2021, Mali again in May 2021, and Sudan. So in Sudan, group leader General Abdel Fattah Burhan has dissolved civilian rule and arrested civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and other leaders. But this takeover has reignited the resistance, with protesters returning to the streets in cities and towns across Sudan to denounce the power grab. And so other countries with family dynasties at risk of coups include Equatorial Guinea, Togo, Congo, and Benin. That'd be Congo, Brazzaville. Now military is moving in Brazil on the face of fraud elections. Fraud elections. And so interesting, because this PBD podcast had a great talk about the military and if they would get involved with Brazil.
From the outside, seeing what's going on in America, and I see Brazil's following U.S.'s footsteps. the American situation was more optimistic for something happened with the elections because they had 6-3 Supreme Court. So Trump is sitting there saying, I own Supreme Court. I'm going to fight it. They're going to back me up because I gave these guys the job and it's going to be this. No, they didn't want to do it. And you're talking about Brazil, 9 out of
institutions here is a way stronger. In Brazil, the only hope, they're trying to follow all the institutional steps. Every single one of them.
Yeah, but here's what doesn't change, though.
If they don't work, that's the only chance. If they don't work, for some reason, there's an expectation of the military intervening under Bolsonaro's request. I don't believe that will happen. I think that's unlikely, but that's not.
That's if it does, you're talking potential civil war. If something like that.
No, there's no civil war.
Yeah.
No.
If the military intervenes.
No, there's no civil war because to have a civil war, you need to have another side with guns.
The other side is the criminal.
The criminal.
Is the criminal.
Well, they're easily controlled.
Dealers and all that.
Easily controlled by the military. There's no risk of civil war. If the military steps in, what we'll have is a pressure of international community.
Is this video correct? Can you pull up that
video?
video?
You know what the risk of civil war is
that
in Brazil?
An accurate video?
Yeah.
I believe that's September 7th.
That's September 7th.
Yes, the Independence Day in Brazil.
You know what is the civil war risk, in my opinion? Is if the militaries don't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have a risk.
Yeah, but guys, listen.
And they are not happy at all.
Interesting. This conversation is popping up in podcasts about the military. And if the military did step in on these elections and say, enough's enough, we've caught them all and we're taking them for their cheating, how amazing would it be to see so close to us and have it happen in America? And then you head over to other areas like the European Parliament. And they recently voted to make Russia a terrorist state. And prior to that vote, I believe this played, and I think it is absolutely brilliant.
Madam President, Prime Ministers, 2 minutes of truth, of bitter truth. And the bitter truth is that the European Parliament has done a lot of damage in Europe.
That takes guts. He starts out by saying they've caused a lot of damage, the Parliament.
It has been sending a false message. It represents European demos. There isn't, and there won't be any European demos. The Parliament infected Europe with shameless partisanship. And the infection became so contagious that it spread to other institutions, such as European Commission. The Parliament has abandoned the basic function of representing people. Instead, it has become a machine to implement the so-called European project, thus alienating millions of voters. The Parliament has become a political vehicle of the left to impose their monopoly with their fierce intolerance towards any dissenting view. No matter how many times you repeat the word diversity, diversity is becoming an extinct species in the European Union, and particularly in this chamber. The Parliament is a quasi-parliament.
So as he continues, you can see the expression on the faces of the people and more. I'm going to continue this.
You repeat the word diversity, the essential principle of parliamentarism, namely accountability. The deputy, let me remind you, is elected by the voters and must be accountable to the voters that elected him. Not so in the European Union. The idea that, say, Spanish, German, French, etc., deputies accountable to their own national electorates can dictate something to, shall we say, a Hungarian society or any other society to which they cannot be held accountable and which cannot take them to task is simply preposterous. Call it what you will, but democracy it is not. To sum up, the Parliament represents the demos that does not exist, works for the project that ignores reality and law, shuns accountability, turns its back on millions of people, and serves the interest of one political orientation. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Standing in the lion's den. Standing in there with all of these snakes and telling them the truth to their face. How brilliant. How amazing. So as we close this video today, I think we're going to close with this. Paul Harvey, If I Were the Devil.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I set about, however necessary, to take over the United States.
President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve. Do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flame.
The President of the United States is racist.
If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions, just let those run wild. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. I would caution against extremes.
I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
In hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. All of this playing out in front of us and more. It makes you wonder everything that we're going through this particular year, this Thanksgiving year. We do have a lot to be thankful for, but we know that the devil has been up to his tricks for a long time. and is destroying this nation and this earth one day at a time. We continue to pray and have hope that somehow, some way, there'll be relief in our pockets. There'll be relief from all of these attacks coming at all ends to destroy all of us. Stolen elections, the attacks of those who are trying to expose the enemy, the attacks on us and blaming us for things that we have nothing to do with at all. And it becomes very tiresome at times, but feel a renewed strength as we continue to move forward, continue to expose them for what they are doing, and the hope that someday, just someday, maybe the military will get involved in a positive fashion. And somehow, in some way, everything that we've been talking about for years would come to fruition. And for just a span of time, we would be experiencing some sort of freedom from the tyranny that is all around us. We hope for that day.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we come to you now, thankful that we have folks who are true friends to visit this year. Thank you for the ability that we have to set food at the table still and break bread, have conversations with those that we care about. The ability to talk about things that touch our hearts and touch our lives. And we do know that we're entering a cold season, the winter, darkness and more. And we just hope that you would open our eyes to see what you are up to, regardless of how much evil's around us, that you would continue to settle us and remind us through your word, do not fear. So for this weekend, we ask that you would comfort us, give us rest, and protect us from the enemy, who's always searching for ways to destroy us through our mind and our hearts. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Folks, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope that you continue to work together, lift everyone up, and pray for those who need prayer. Call somebody, let them know you care about them. Text them. For now, this is LT saying Semper Fi with them we know, signing out.
We've come to the time in the season when family and friends gather near to offer a prayer of thanksgiving for blessings we've known through the years, to join hands and thank the Creator now when Thanksgiving is due.